So I just wanted to make a video about me when I was in a relationship with an Aries, and of course also, obviously I'm going to go into the astrological side and the zodiacs and the different elements. So Aries is a very dominant sign. They are ruled by the god of war, and they go with the planet Mars. Aries is the first of the zodiac, so they're very dominant. They're a fire sign. They like to be, in charge, and they like putting themselves first. Sometimes they can be pretty selfish. Sometimes it's like me with the Aries, and they can have a really bad temper problem. And then I also want to explain the second part that I am an Aquarius. I was born on Valentine's Day, so most of my planets are in air. Aquarius is an air sign, and then my moon is in Gemini, and then most of my planets are in other air signs. Probably like half of them are like air. So, astrologically, if somebody was very basic at astrology, they would look to the sun sign, and when you look at the sun sign to see which you're supposed to date, then this is a combination Aries with an Aquarius because, I'm an air sign, so with fire, I make the fire hotter and hotter and hotter, so there's supposed to be plenty of sexual chemistry. So, me being an air sign, I'm supposed to date either a Sagittarius, a Leo, or an Aries. This is, however, why you get more into astrology and you need to look at somebody's birth chart. Because Mars, the planet of Mars, shows, in a woman's chart, it shows what type of men she is attracted to. So, that's where you need to get into things and see, what different elements, and see her Mars, and that will show you that's more showing the attraction. So, this video about me being an Aquarius with my Aries boyfriend, I'm not going to say his name, but for the purposes of this video, I'm going to call him Jay. So this was back in 2010, and this was when I was in college, and I was hanging out in the parking lot with a group of my friends, and Jay did not go to school there. He worked full-time, but he was a friend of a couple of my classmates. So we were all hanging out, maybe like the five of us and everything, and I hadn't seen Jay because, like I said, he didn't go to my school, and we exchanged numbers, I introduced myself and I start a conversation, and then we exchanged numbers and everything, and we hit it off. Like, basically, we were pretty much dating right then, before we even went out on a date, and there was, a lot of sexual chemistry and everything, and so Aries is the most dominant sign, and definitely he was really, really good in bed. There's only one other guy. I'll give him place number 2 out of next to the number 1. There's only one other guy that I slept with who was as good as he was, and he was really, really good in bed. So Jay and I went out on the 4th date. We had sex, and it was just absolutely crazy. He was so good in bed, and so I was going to school full time and working a little bit on the weekends, a part-time job on weekend mornings, and basically every weekend he would pretty much stay at my place. He worked full-time and I went to school full-time, and I'm absolutely not kidding you. Like, when he would come over on the weekends, that was absolutely all we would do, is just have a lot of sex. We would have sex 5 times a weekend, and oh my gosh, he was really, really, really good in bed, and very well endowed, and he had he was very well endowed. He had a very large wanger. In fact, even when we were having sex and he would just put it all the way in, he would hit my cervix, so he was actually so big that it would hit the entrance to my uterus, and he was really, really good in bed. We would sometimes I would get on top, and then sometimes he would most of the time he would be a missionary position. It was very romantic, and very intimate. So that's definitely what they say about Aries, because Aries is a fire sign, and there's supposed to be a lot of sexual chemistry if you know just the basics. If you look toward the sun signs, and so definitely, as far as in what they're saying, that was very, very true. So Jay and I were dating for about maybe 6 months, and then we got into things were going pretty well and everything, and then we kind of got into a bad situation. So early 2011, we were going out, and we went to this party. And I don't really know how much he drank, or, whatever, or if he even drank at all. I mean, he might have just drank, a couple times a year. I don't know. But we were, playing Scrabble, the little word game, and it was a party and everything, and we were playing it, and he was sitting right next to me on the couch, and then there was another couple that was sitting across from us. We were playing up against each other, and I was trying to help him, organize his little letters and everything so that he could play. And during the Scrabble game, as I'm doing this, he takes out like vodka and he's drinking it, and he takes a really, really big bong, like 1 foot tall, and he just is getting stoned out of his mind. So he's not really thinking clearly very well, and so I'm sitting next to him. I don't smoke, I don't drink, so I'm sitting next to him, and I'm trying to help him organize his letters. And he looks at me. He was very confused and everything, and he says, and he was very, very serious. He absolutely wasn't kidding around at all, and he says, "If you don't stop touching my letters, I am going to punch you." So I just got up and, like, a minute later walked out, and I just went home. And as soon as I did that, I decided in my own mind that I did not want to continue a relationship with Jay anymore, because this is abuse. Like, he's starting to punch me. And then, about a week later, I am at work, and I get a phone call from him and everything, and, we were talking for a couple minutes and everything, and we ended up getting onto the subject. He goes, "Well, I haven't heard from you in about a week," and then I kind of brought up the party and everything, and I'm like, "I don't think that it's funny that you threatened to punch me." And he didn't really seem to take it seriously at all. He thought that it was a joke, and he said, "Well, it wasn't like I was really going to punch you. It's just a joke. It's just something that I say when I'm with friends." And then, basically, I told him I didn't like that or anything, and he didn't even offer an apology. He just thought that it was really funny. So anyway, I mean, technically speaking, I was telling the truth, but I told him, I'm like, "Listen, I'm at work right now. I kind of got to get back to my stuff." And so, we hung up and everything. And then I'm filing more papers for a while and blah, blah, blah. And then I look at my phone a while later, and there are naked pictures of him on my phone. So instead of apologizing, he sends dick pics, and that was pretty much the end of the story. And then he tried to call me a couple times, and I just sent it to voicemail. So that's pretty much what happened with Jay. So anyway, to just kind of give like a general summary of my video, I thought that this would be a good video, especially for those of you that are very basic into astrology, because with this video I'm just talking strictly with the sun signs. So this is my relationship when I was dating an Aries, and this is when I was in college, and it was very accurate what they were saying, about the sexual chemistry, but also that, Aries can also have a temper problem, and they like to be like me first, and then, Jay threatened to punch me, and then when I talked to him about it, like a week later, he didn't even really seem that he was sorry. He seemed to think that it was, like, funny, and then all I get are these naked pictures of him on my phone. So basically, yeah, like I said, Jay was the Aries, so he's a fire sign and he's very dominant and he likes to be first and everything like that. And he kind of lost his temper, so that's a hot tempered Aries because Aries is the god of war and it rules the planet Mars. And then just to go into a little bit more about me, I'm an Aquarius with a Gemini moon, and most of my planets are in air signs. So, Aries is supposed to date a fire sign because as far as the sun signs, it's supposed to be like hot, hot, hot sexual chemistry. So basically that is, yeah, I'm just kind of summarizing again. That is my relationship in college when I was dating an Aries for about 6 months, and things were pretty hot between the two of us, and we got along really well. And then he just like lost his temper, and then I decided that I did not want to be in a relationship with Jay anymore.